And greetings, everyone, and welcome to Buzz for Good, where we talk all things nonprofit, the people they serve and the good they do. And today, I am buzzing about coffee. Specifically, coffee from a Roanoke, Virginia establishment that is brewed and served by adults with intellectual disabilities. A few years ago, Beth Woodrum founded Chris's Coffee and Custard to help individuals like her son, Chris, who has Down syndrome, find meaningful employment and community. Beth recently announced an exciting new venture for Chris's Coffee and Custard and her nonprofit that operates it, Love Able Services. And so on today's show, I'm going to share my inspiring conversation with Beth. But first, I am Michael Hemphill, creator and host of this radio show, Buzz for Good, and the TV show Buzz that airs on Blue Ridge PBS and other public television stations across the country. Buzz features the great work that nonprofits do in our communities and the marketing professionals who donate their time and talent to help these life-giving organizations achieve more buzz. You can follow along on our Facebook, Instagram, and LinkedIn channels at Buzz for Good. That's Buzz, B-U-Z-Z, number 4, Good. Also our website, buzzforgood.com. And on our YouTube channel, you can watch our more than 50 episodes to date. And that's also at Buzz for Good. Our most recent feature on the YouTube channel is a Christmas concert by the Smith River Singers out of Martinsville, Virginia, which we live streamed as part of the buzz that we provided them when we starred this amazing ensemble earlier this year on one of our TV shows. This concert is sure to enrich your holiday season, and I encourage you to watch and listen. And speaking of enriching your souls, here is my conversation with Beth Woodrum, Executive Director of Love Able Services and owner of Chris's Coffee and Custard, both of which provide education, employment, and community for adults with intellectual disabilities. All right, well, it is my pleasure to welcome to Buzz for Good, Beth Woodrum, who is the co-owner, depending on if you're talking to her son, Chris, of Chris's Coffee and Custard, as well as the Executive Director of Love Able Services. Beth, welcome.
Thank you very much. I appreciate you having me.
Absolutely. So let's start, I guess, at the beginning here and tell us about Chris.
Chris is my youngest son. He's 29 and he has Down syndrome. And when he was born, I thought, there's something special that Chris is going to be doing in our family. And I totally believe that God puts the right children in the right families. And so we just knew there would be something special for Chris, for us. And so when he started into 9th grade, they started doing job training, and they would go out to different places and to work at different businesses, and they would give them different jobs to do. And so I started thinking about that and thinking, what can I do for these young adults with special abilities in Roanoke? Because there really wasn't a certain employment company that would offer them jobs there. So I just started looking and doing some research on some different opportunities, and I just had a real peace about this. And I thought there's something I can do. I can do this. Mm-hmm. And so I talked with my husband, and he said, well, how are you going to do that? And I said, I don't know, but I just have a real peace about it. And I just feel like this is why God put Chris in our family, to be able to help these young adults in our community that has special abilities. And I said, I'm just going to pray about it. And if the door's open, I'm just going to keep on walking. And if they close, then that's an answer too. But it just started out. I came over and talked with Robbie Aber that owns Lab Sports Performance. And he was getting ready to do a big renovation on a building that he had. And my middle son, Josh, said, Mom, you need to go over and talk with him and see if he has an opportunity for space for you all. So I did, and came over, and he pulled out all the blueprints. In one area, he said, I wanted to have a coffee shop here. He said, but I'd love for you to have your coffee shop here. And come to find out, he has a Down syndrome niece, so it was very dear to his heart. And so he he said, I'll tell you what, he said, you design it. And then he said, as we're working in the lab and as we're running the lab's electric, we'll run yours. And as we're running the water for there, we'll run yours. And so it took a while to get it built, but it was amazing. And he said, we'll do the basic and then you do all the finishing on it. And so it was just a real answer to prayer of being able to have that opportunity for Robbie to do this for us. And I just had a real peace about that, and just started talking with people, and we had amazing donors, and we have a thank you wall at Chris's that has a lot of them on there. And but it just door opened and it kept going, and it's been an amazing adventure. So we started, I
Well, before we get to the rest of the adventure, I do want to rewind just a little bit because
okay.
it, hearing you talk about it, it sounds like, just from the beginning, you just accepted this without, accepted, I guess Chris's abilities, his disabilities, just with no qualms whatsoever. And it was just a smooth, transition from his birth. But I've got to imagine it was a little scary in the moment.
It was, we did not know in the beginning. The doctors kept asking if, my other kids had a wide bridge in their nose, and I said, he looks just like Josh. And I never even, thought of anything. And then at his 2 month checkup, they heard a heart murmur. And
Mhm.
so when they did that, and the doctor, and I asked him again, I said, why do you keep asking me these questions? And he said, well, he said, it doesn't all kind of fit, but he said, there's just certain things that he said, I believe that he has Down syndrome. And so he said, we're going to do some genetic testing. And then also, since we heard the heart murmur, look at his heart. And so they referred us to the cardiology specialist here in town at that time. And so they did the genetic testing, and it came back he has trisomy 21, which means he has three of the 21st chromosomes.
Mhm.
There's three different types of Down syndrome, but that's what Chris has. And so
Yeah,
it was a little bit of an adjustment, but we always believed that God would put the children and the families they're supposed to be in. And so we knew, that he has a special purpose. There's some reason for him to be in our family. But during those, he had speech, OT, PT, and all different, times during the week. And so it was really hard in the beginning, especially with Taylor and Josh, too, because they were having to go to all different things with us. And
those are
and
your two, those are your two older siblings.
they are,
Oh,
yes,
older children, sorry.
yes. Taylor's my oldest son, and then Josh is my middle son.
Okay.
And so, but I told the boys, they had asked me, Mom, would it have been easier if Chris was normal? And I said, I said things would have been easier in certain aspects, but I said, God looked down and found our family and saw you two and knew that you would be great brothers and would teach him things that he needed to know. And I said, you all had a great responsibility, helping Chris learn and grow. And I said, but he has taught us more than we've taught him.
Mm.
And I said, you all know totally different perspectives about people because of Chris. And I said, your hearts are more giving, and you're more patient. And so I said, he's taught us, and we've developed characteristics that we would never have, had if Chris hadn't been in our family. So I said, it's really he's been a blessing to our family. And he didn't get away with anything. He had the same rules that Taylor and Josh did, and he had to do everything he was supposed to do too. And so he didn't get any breaks. But yeah, he has taught us so much, because I try and to look at the world through his eyes more often. For instance, we were leaving to get to work one day and running late, and he was stopped right in the middle of the driveway. And I said, Chris, I said, what are you doing? We need to get going. And he was just looking into the woods and he said, Mom, isn't that a beautiful tree? And I stopped and looked, and it was one of those that turned bright red.
Yeah.
And I said, I don't think I've ever noticed that tree before. And I said, it is a beautiful tree. And there's so many times like that, I sit back and I try to look more through his eyes at the world, because he doesn't know meanness, and he doesn't, he just loves everybody, and is very compassionate and kind, and he doesn't know a stranger. And so when people come in to Chris's, or when he meets people, you would think that he knew you forever. And so, and that's a gift. He has a
Yeah.
gift of remembering people's names, and but just that gift of just being loving and kind. And if he sees somebody being mean, he kind of looks at him like, what are you doing? It just doesn't understand those things. And so, he has been a real blessing to us, but it has been different. I mean, there's times when, you do things differently, and, but, you look at it, what he's taught us has been just, you know, invaluable.
Beautiful. Well, here on Buzz for Good, I'm joined by Beth Woodrum, who is the owner or co-owner with her son Chris of Chris's
Yes,
Coffee and Custard in Roanoke, Virginia, as well as the executive director of the nonprofit that have is partnered with Chris's Custard and Corner called Love Able Services.
that's right.
And there's some exciting news happening with Chris's Custard and Corner. Sorry, Chris's Coffee and Custard. Uh,
Yes.
but uh, but share with me kind of the mission of Love Able Services.
Yeah, Love Able Services is our 501(c)(3), and that is our parent corporation. And that is our company that we create meaningful opportunities through Love Able Services for young adults with special abilities. We are focused on it's a comprehensive workforce training program. So we teach social skills, communication skills, vocational skills to individuals with special abilities. And it's amazing on some of the things that they're learning and they're doing. And it's just been an awesome opportunity. There's other training programs in Roanoke, but the one thing that I looked at is they didn't have a built-in employment opportunity
Mhm.
for them, because Chris went through other training programs, but then at the finish, then the caseworker had to go out and try and find a job. And it's very difficult, because a lot of business owners don't understand individuals with special abilities, and may be scared because they don't know, how to deal with them, or all the different needs that they have at times. So I wanted to have the training program, but I also wanted to have a built-in employment opportunity for them. So when they finished the training, if we had a job that we could match their skill set with a job at Chris's, we would be able to offer them employment to be able to work at Chris's Coffee and Custard. So that was one thing that we did not have here in Roanoke. There was no other combination of training and employment opportunity. And so that's where the idea of Chris's Coffee and Custard came in. And in the very beginning, I couldn't tell Chris what I was doing because he can't keep a secret. And so I had him write his name down on about 5 pieces of paper. And he said, well, why? And I said, well, I'm working on a project. And so I took his name, and then I built the logo around his name. So it's when you see the logo and you see Chris's there, that's his actual signature. And then our tagline, where hot coffee meets cool friends. And so when we got ready to open and start working on Chris's, and when I got those two businesses set up, I showed him the logo that I had developed, and he looked at it and he said, "That's my name." And I said, "Yes, it is." And so he was so excited when I told him what we were doing. And so and I tried when we were developing it, I said, "What do you want at Chris's? Do you have any ideas of things that you'd like to have?" And he goes to the Night to Shine prom, and it's amazing. It's decorated. It's just an awesome opportunity. And so, but when they drive him around in the limo and they drop him off on the at the a red carpet, and they walk across the red carpet and walk into the gym, and he said, "I want a red carpet here at Chris's where people can come and get the red carpet treatment." So I found a vendor, a rug vendor that had red carpets. And so we have at the front when you walk in, and then the other door when you exit. We have red carpets with Chris's
Yep.
Coffee Custard logo on them. So things that he wanted, I tried to incorporate in Chris's. But we started working on it in 2017. We actually opened right during COVID in March of 21. But I had people ask me, "Why are you doing that?" And I said, "That's God's timing. It's not mine." And it was hard, but it was great. And this community is so supportive of us, and with donations and grants, and they just backed us up around every corner, and we were so thankful. And so we are in the location where we are now, but it's part of it's part of Lab Sports Performance. So there's no firewall between Chris's and the lab, so it can never be separated, and we lease the space, so it can never be a permanent location for us.
Okay.
So we had
Uh,
talked.
Yeah, but before you get to what's coming next, let me
Okay.
reintroduce you here real quick. So, once
Okay.
joined here on Bus for Good by Beth Woodrum, the Executive Director of Love Able Services, which provides employment opportunities and educational services and training for adults who have intellectual disabilities, such as her son Chris, who has Down syndrome.
Yes.
Um, and she is also, with Chris, the co-owner of Chris's Coffee and Custard, which
Yes.
employs uh, folks who have intellectual disabilities at the Coffee and Custard place in Southeast Roanoke.
Yes.
However, there are plans afoot to relocate. So tell us about them.
We are so excited about this. We have been talking, our board has been talking about having a permanent location for Chris's Coffee and Custard. And about a week after the last time we were talking about it, I received a phone call from the owner of the Starkey School that's right next to Penn Forest Elementary School. And he was saying that he's decided he wanted to sell the building, and he loves Chris's. And he's been in here before, and loves Chris. And so he said, "I really love how you kept the preserving of the historical building where you're in right now." And he said, "I would love for you to do that." The Starkey School is the last building that's in the original Starkey community. And so he said he would just love to have that historical building.
For those who don't know, anything about Starkey or the Starkey School, what makes it historically significant?
Well, that was a school that they had kindergarten through 12th grade in that school. And that's it's the only one left, but it's needs a lot of renovation. And but we were so excited about him offering this to us. And he said, "I would love for you to have it." And I had told him years ago that if he ever wanted to sell it, I
Hmm.
would like to be able to talk with him about it. So I just love the history about the building. I love the way it looks. It just is such a unique place. And it is in a great location right next to Penn Forest Elementary School, and all the ball fields around it, all the schools around it, and there's some amazing businesses locally here, and the traffic very high trafficked area, and kind of a crossway from 220 over to Salem. So when we were talking about this, and I just had that same piece
Mm.
about this building that I did in the very beginning, and um, just knowing the opportunities that this would enable us to be able to grow our mission and our workforce comprehensive training program, and also then be able to hire more young adults with special abilities. So the ability for us to have this building and be able to, expand and grow and just create some unbelievably wonderful opportunities for our young adults with special abilities would be just fantastic in this location.
So what's it going to take to actually be able to move into there?
All right, so our total budget is 800,000 for purchase and renovating.
Okay.
The purchase price is 425,000. And he gave us a very small window of raising money. So we have been working very hard. We have he wants a contract by the end of December, so we're running. And
Yeah.
but we have developed a capital campaign, and it's called Raise One for Chris.
Nice.
And so that basically is raise $1,000 for Chris. But we are so excited about small donations, large donations, whether it's $1, whether it's $10, 1,000, 10,000. We just received an amazing $100,000 donation.
100,000. Wow.
Yes,
Congrats.
last week, and they asked if it would be a matching donation. So we're very excited about being able to get that out to the
Mhm.
community and be able to use that, to jumpstart a lot more donations as well. So, and the way that we think about it is, this is like coming home for us because our children grew up right down the street from this building. And so many people know us and know Chris, and and we're looking at that as, an opportunity for, high school sports teams or friends that can get together as a group and raise money, or church groups, or, civic organizations or special groups here in this area. And we've had commitments already now from a couple of the local businesses there as well. So we're just wanting the community to, it is an opportunity for us to renovate, this building and be able to, um, basically transform it into a vibrant community hub where history and inclusiveness meet, and be able to make it so that it's a community place where they can come and, and get to know our young adults. And we had somebody ask us if we're going to have a drive-through, and we're not, because that doesn't go along with our mission. We want people to come in and see how amazing these young adults really
Mhm.
are.
Mm.
They have such special gifts and talents and abilities, and they can do everything. And it's just a matter of helping them realize that. And
So what's it? So right now you've got how much left to raise by the end of the year?
we've raised 187,000 right now in the past 3 or 4 weeks.
Wow.
So we're working really
Wow.
hard. So we have another about 250 to
Okay.
raise. So we're looking at this as basically three goals. We have, employment training to be able to expand that. Also be able to do an educational outreach and be able to pull in, different people from different school systems and be able to have them come and use Chris's as a job site
Yeah.
for them, but also to be able to, transform this school into the historical, bring back all the history. The owner has pictures of what it was like when it was a school.
Hmm.
And he has all those, and he said he's going to give me those, and we'll have those up inside the building and be able to, create some of those memories. I
Hmm.
really am hoping as well that we can get this out because I would love to find some people that either went to that school or had family that went to that school. And maybe they have stories or maybe they have pictures or things like that that we can incorporate that into the renovations.
Love it.
So really excited about making that a permanent home, and it's just going to be really a life-changing endeavor for a lot of these young adults.
Yeah, so coming to a close here of our conversation with Beth Woodrum, who is the co-owner with her son Chris of Chris's Coffee and Custard and the executive director of Love Able Services. People who are inspired to want to be part of all this.
Yes.
What do they do? Where do they go?
Okay. We have, they can call us. My email is beth@loveableservices.org. There's no E after the V. And then, or phone number is 540-353-4750.
Uh-huh.
And they can call if they want to discuss donations or any custom giving ideas that they have. Also, we have on our website, um, chrisscoffeeandcustard.com website, there's a capital campaign tab, and they can click on that, and there's a link there for donations and also to have some extra additional information and some pictures. We have a artist that did a rendition of what the beginning of what it would look like.
Okay.
We're hoping to have a patio out on the front, and you will have parking on each side. And so we've got some really neat ideas for that. So if they go to that tab, they'll be able to see some of the pictures
Okay.
on that as well.
And that is Chris's Coffee and Custard.com.
Yes.
Excellent. Excellent. Well, Beth Woodrum, thank you so much for coming on to Buzz for Good and sharing all the great work that you and your son Chris are doing to advance the cause of adults who have intellectual disabilities. To close out, what do you want people to know about, you know, individuals who have intellectual disabilities like Down syndrome, like, some other thing that perhaps, if you don't know about it, makes you feel as though they're limited in some capacity.
Right. They, whether they have Down syndrome or on the spectrum or cerebral palsy or whatever their special ability is, they are amazing and they have skills and abilities that others don't have.
Hmm.
And they can learn. They may learn it differently. They may learn a skill differently, but they are so excited when they do everything here. And when they make the item, they deliver the item themselves. And then they end up getting the accolades. Thank you so much. This looks great. And they come back and they're high-fiving each other. And I'm like, oh, that looks so great. Good job. And, the camaraderie and the customer service that we have here is amazing.
Hmm.
And I want people to know they're just like everybody else.
Yeah.
They can do different things, they can do everything, and they are probably your most loyal friends that you'll ever have. And we want people to come. One of the things that I really hope that people that are business owners, when they come into Chris's, that they look around and they see what great jobs they do. And I hope that they will start thinking, is there an opportunity that I could offer a young adult with special abilities and have a job at my business?
Hmm.
And that's what I really hope for, because I would like to see other owners of companies employ young adults with special abilities, because they don't like missing work. They love being at work. They're there. I mean, it is very rare that they don't show up at work, because they take such pride in their job
Hmm.
and what they do. And I think they're better workers than maybe who other people have.
Yep.
So I hope that when people come into Chris's and they see that, they realize they are great people
Yeah.
and love being around them.
Yeah. Well, Beth Woodrum, thank you so much for coming on to Buzz for Good and sharing with us about Love Able Services, as well as Chris's Coffee and Custard, as you are trying to raise money to move into your new location. And
Yeah.
for more, go to Chris's Coffee and Custard, grab a cup of coffee, meet some of these spectacular individuals who work there, and then support them through their website, chrisscoffeeandcustard.com. Beth, thanks so much and good luck with the campaign.
Thank you so much. I appreciate you having us on the show.
Many thanks again to Beth Woodrum for coming on to Buzz for Good and talking about the inspiring work she is doing for adults like her son Chris, who have an intellectual disability. And speaking of which, we are thrilled to announce that one of our Buzz episodes in 2025 will star another nonprofit in Southwest Virginia that works to create social opportunities and build communities for adults with intellectual disabilities. That nonprofit, Masterpiece Alliance. And we were able to do this thanks to the grant we received from the Louise Lester Foundation. So thank you, Louise Lester. And that will do it for today's Buzz for Good. Please stay connected with us through our Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, and YouTube channels, all at Buzz for Good. That's Buzz, B-U-Z-Z, 4, Good. If you know of a nonprofit in need of some buzz, or if you want to provide some buzz to a nonprofit, please reach out through my website, buzzforgood.com. Thanks so much for tuning in, and keep being a Buzz for Good for the community you hold dear. Bye now.